Hey, what's up, Facebook land and YouTube world? My name is George Carroll. Welcome to GCTV, where we are making shift happen. And today we're talking about something that is very relevant for, if not most of us, all of us, given what's going on with COVID-19. But how do we manage the emotions that come up during this sea of uncertainty? And so I have a special guest. Avital Miller is in the house. She's a healing breakthrough facilitator and also an award-winning international keynote speaker. Thank you for blessing us with your presence, sister.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be on GCTV.
Oh, yeah. Cool. So let's talk about this. I mean, you have clients that you've been working with. What are you noticing in your communities and your friends, your family? What are you noticing in terms of the emotional roller coaster that's happening?
There is a huge range of emotion for a lot of people, and it's different for each person depending on what their challenge is normally or what has come up now. But this is interesting. The people that are on less of an emotional roller coaster are the ones who have something very clear to work on. The ones who don't see a disturbance in what their mission is in life, and they're able to creatively find a way to keep doing that. Or they found a way to create it a mission to help serve other people who are challenged right now. And the emotional turmoil for those who are experiencing it, I want to say this because I think we tend to make it even harder on ourselves when we have emotions come up. And then that's another emotion on top of the emotions. And it's very natural for us to have emotional reactions to everything that is happening right now. And it's very important for a lot of us as well. And I was talking about the people who have like a clear direction and they know what's up. But all of us are going to hit moments in our life and in different aspects of our life where change is being called upon us. And it's very natural for us to have an emotional roller coaster in the process of that change as well.
No doubt.
George, have you ever experienced emotions when you've had change in life?
One or two, just a couple here and there, and I remember back in 2009 when the economy crashed and I wasn't prepared and I ended up going bankrupt because I had just started my business and also foreclosed on my condo at the time. So I learned the hard way and life smacked me the hard way. And so for the last 10 years, I've been preparing for another crisis like this, but none of us could have predicted this specific crisis. But I love what you said about finding meaning and finding purpose and having that reason. Let's dive into that a little bit more. So maybe for people who are watching that that maybe don't know, what their purpose is or are finding a mission to be alive about, any suggestions there?
Yeah. One of the best ways, and this isn't easy, but one of the best ways to really see what your mission is to get absolutely quiet for as long as it takes to see what that is. And we've been given a gift of a lot less going on for a lot of people, right? Some people have more going on, but for the people who have less going on, you can take advantage of that gift and use it to get quiet, to see clearly what that is. Another way of doing it is just to put the energy in motion and try different things out and get creative within the space that you're in. Because it's challenging to sit quietly, I recommend for those of you who find challenges with that to get help doing that. So I'm actually a meditation instructor. I used to live in a yoga community and I used to meditate quite a bit every single day. Now I have a little more blended life, but in the process of that, when I started, there was no sitting for just 5 minutes, like maybe 5 minutes with my eyes closed. I was so restless and I had to learn to relax into it, but also really use the techniques from this program. So I've noticed a lot of people who've come through my programs and said they could never meditate beforehand, and they're able to with those tools.
Yeah, just real quick, I love this, number one, getting quiet to kind of tap into your mission, but also just getting quiet as a way to calm the emotions and calm the anxiety circuits in our brain so that we can find that center. So meditation, huge right now. What would be a good starter for somebody? Maybe they connect with you and work with you in one of your programs, but what's a good starter way for somebody who's just getting into meditation that wants to quiet their world more often?
I want to share this technique. I feel it's actually one of the most powerful techniques that you can use to quickly shift your anxiety level. And this is important because also right now, a lot of people could be at home in violent situations. And they're getting pushed with situations that can create more anxiety, right? Some people at home, there's less impact, but some people there's more impact. And then some of us are getting the anxiety from the changes that are happening in our life, even if we're not doing that much at home. And this is just one of the easiest ways to quickly calm down your energy. And then from there, you can go into some of the other techniques. I call it 5-4-3. So all you need to do is remember the numbers 5-4-3, and you're going to go into 3 of your senses. It does not matter the order, but if you prepare this technique in advance before you get to a moment where you feel anxiety, then you're going to know what to do in that moment. And simply notice 5 things you can see. And just take a moment and do that right now. Okay. Now notice 4 things you can hear. So this takes a little bit more tuning in. You might hear the heating or the air conditioning unit in your home. You might hear a bird outside, a clock ticking, your breath, the ripple of your clothes moving on your skin.
Check.
Yep, I'm here.
We went out at the most important point in what you were sharing. So go back, reverse 20 seconds.
Yeah. So we did 5 things that you can see. So we took a moment to notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear. And that's where it gets more subtle. Is it the heating or AC unit around you? Is it the wind blowing outside or a bird? Is it the creaking of just the house moving? Is it a clock ticking? Is it your breath? Is it the clothes rippling on you as you move on your body? And then 3 things you can feel through the sensation of touch. So you probably have at least a couple different materials of clothes on your body, the hair on your body, the air on your skin, the seat underneath you, the shoes on your feet, the socks on your feet. I said it doesn't matter what order that you do it in. If you just remember the 5-4-3, I do choose that order because sight is the thing that's most obvious. So I like starting with that. And feeling sensations. There aren't as many sensations to feel on the skin. So that's why I do that one last.
I love this technique. Have you ever watched the movie After Earth with Will Smith and his son?
No.
It's so powerful, but I'm not going to go into the details, but he kind of teaches this technique to his son about getting really present with every single sense. But I like how you go deep with 3 senses. And I think that's another tip for all of us is learn to just slow everything down. And I think by going through that quick process and practicing it, it brings your focal point just to one point versus so many different things. Because a lot of times we go into stress or anxiety because we're overwhelmed with the information, overwhelmed with the energy of the world, overwhelmed with stuff to do. And I just love this technique. Okay, so use the senses, 5-4-3. What a great meditative tool. What else do you have for us?
Imagine this too, though, when we're talking about becoming present. because everything in our head is not actually what's happening right now in this moment. What's happening right now in this moment is what you see, what you can hear, what you can feel, what you can taste. So that's, what you could smell, right? Those are the five senses. And what's happening in the mind is just our idea of what might be going on, our interpretation of what might be going on. Fear, what's one of the acronyms for fear, when it's like a result that we think is going to happen in the future, but we don't actually know if that's going to happen. So we come back to the present to say what's really going on, because the emotions that we have are wisdom. Mm-hmm. And when we can get a little calmer, then it's easier for the emotions to give us that wisdom.
False evidence appearing real. I think that's one acronym that popped for me when you asked.
Yeah.
So that's really brilliant wisdom to have. For me, one thing that is helping me, and I have toddlers, so it makes it a little easier. If you don't have toddlers, it might be a little challenge, but play with kids, and if you can't play with kids, find something to play with. And you can take that any direction you want, but find play.
Come to my dance party online on Saturday night. And there's some play there.
Yeah. So find ways to play. I think that's such an important to get out of because what's happening is real, as real as we think it is anyway. And the gathering restrictions and the restrictions that have been put in place, those are real. 22 million people in the US losing their jobs, that's real. Mm-hmm. And whatever's happening in your immediate circumstance, that's real. But your internal response it can be a conscious one versus an unconscious one. So what are some other tips to help people manage emotions in this big uncertain time?
Yeah, I want to share just this story real quick too, because part of the managing emotions is really understanding the depth of the benefit of it. And I had been at this yoga community for years, meditating and becoming so calm and tuning into my intuition. And then all of a sudden I was completely moody. I couldn't do anything. I thought I was completely worthless, useless. Like I had no value, zero to offer the world. And like I wasn't good at anything. Like I lost complete vision of that. And I went to one of my spiritual teachers and she says, yeah, what you're going through is the dark night of the soul. And it's because of all of the spiritual work you've been doing. And I'm like, what? Like that seems like going backwards. But sometimes the emotions that are coming up are us going forwards. So if you can allow yourself to relax into what is happening and trust that something greater is being unearthed from that, it makes it easier to ride that wave.
Yeah. Well put. Very well put. Another thing for me that's supporting me and a lot of people that I'm working with is finding a way to be productive. And that doesn't mean like pushing yourself to the max, but finding a way to create something. And productive doesn't necessarily mean economically productive. It could be learning a new skill or, playing an instrument or writing or, really developing something creative within you that's calling you. And in that sort of creative act, you allow yourself to stay out of some of those anxieties and stresses that show up. So find something you enjoy and create.
Yeah. And this goes back to the idea of talking about having meaning in life. And in the Transformation Academy, we're reading the book Man's Search for Meaning, which is Viktor Frankl's experience of surviving concentration camps in the Holocaust. And that was one of the keys that he felt helped people survive. It was not people who were physically fit. It was people who were mentally fit, who knew how to go into imagination. And they had some vision of something that they wanted to live for. Being a healing breakthrough facilitator, one of the top things that just miraculously people's health turns around when they're expected to die because they have a reason to live. And some people might know Dr. Bernie Siegel, who's the best-selling author of Love, Medicine, and Miracles, but I also interviewed him in my book, Healing Happens, and he has just tons of those stories. This one guy he was supposed to have surgery after surgery for terminal cancer to see if they could turn things around. But he said, no, I can't go do the surgery. It's springtime and I'm a landscaper. I need to go make the world beautiful. And Dr. Bernie Siegel seriously thinks the man is dead when he comes back for an appointment a few years later. But he just saw time and time again the people who were surviving those challenges. So if you're also worried about your physical health, it's keep your livelihood high. Like this week, I hit a moment because I had some changes in my life this week, where some things were taken away, and I was getting moody. And I'm like, okay, that's just because I'm not living life as fully as I can. And now we have to get more creative in this circumstance. So I just went, well, what can I add in? What can I shift? What can I do? And I started getting creative with bringing into my life what helps me live my purpose, what helps create the meaning, what creates passion, what creates fun. That's what keeps our energy high. That's what keeps our immune system strong.
Yeah. Talking about immune systems, the food that we're consuming right now plays a huge part on our emotions. I know for me, my weakness is Ben and Jerry's ice cream. And I notice like I can go and I'll eat the whole pint, but I can go one night and not, have a big impact. But if I go 2 nights in a row, like I notice I'm quicker to frustration. I get brain fog. And so many of our emotions are being triggered by the foods that we consume. And so the cleaner that we can eat, the more efficient our system runs and the less triggered we can become. So watch out for the food you're eating.
Well, the fun thing about the food also, what is the thing in the Ben and Jerry's ice cream, right? Is it the dairy? Is it the sugar? So like Coconut Bliss ice cream, it is delicious and it doesn't have sugar. It doesn't have dairy.
Ooh,
and so
I'm going to check it out.
Also be a replacement where you can still have some of that satisfaction, but it's not going to have the negative impact on your body.
Yeah. Anytime I want to make a shift like that, I go to Halo, but I'll have to try Coconut Bliss. So there's one more tip that I want to share here that I think is really important in terms of managing your emotion in times of uncertainty. And then I want to tap into your wisdom to wrap up here is to use your physiology and your breath simultaneously as a way to calm down emotions. So anytime you feel anxious or you feel overwhelmed, remember that your physiology is communicating something to your brain. And usually if we're in a fight or flight response or a stress response, we're usually in some sort of protective mode or protective physiology. And so I'll just point my camera down here. And so what we want to do is just literally like right now, you can't see my legs, but my legs are opened up. My arms are opened up. And as my arms are opened up, because we have muscle memory. And as my arms are opened up, I'm not covering the vital organs of my body. So this communicates openness. This communicates safety. And then just add the breath to it. And so just take some slow, rhythmic, deep breaths in. And I'll teach a real quick technique that the Navy SEALs use is 4 count in. And then hold for 4. And then exhale for 4. And hold for 4. And so that's called the box breathing technique. And it's just a simple way to really allow your systems to calm down, your circuits to calm down, to get out of fight or flight so that you can get more present in the moment. That's something that helps me all the time when I'm feeling overwhelmed or anxious. So feel free to use that one. But take us home, Avital, take us home. Give us the last bit of wisdom.
That was really beautiful. And I want to offer people a gift along those lines, because what I didn't mention is the thing that probably makes the biggest difference in helping people actually sit and do the meditation practices that I offer is because we do these very physical exercises with deep breathing before we sit down. And if you go to YouTube and you look up my name, Avital Miller, and then, or I think I called the video Avital's favorite energization exercises. So I pulled a few out of the full set that I really enjoy doing before meditation, and that you can do in just a minute or two and quickly shift your energy around.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, Avital. We'll have to do a part 2 at some point in the future. But for those of you watching, hope you got some value from today. And remember, Joe Dispenza, love the guy. One of his famous quotes recently is, "We're at a time in history where knowing is no longer enough. It's about knowing how." So you can know some of the things that we offer, tips and tools, but what's really going to make the difference is practicing them and putting them to work. All right. So thanks for joining us here at GCTV, where we're making shift happen. Thanks again, Avital, for being here with us.
Thank you so much. Such an honor.
And see y'all next time.